welcome back to another episode of Disciplined Stoners. I'm your host, 11.
My name is Winnie, and we are the gateway drug to mindfulness.
And today...
Welcome to Disciplined Stoners, the gateway drug to mindfulness. Look deeper.
We're here to grow.
Oh my gosh, my guy. Listen, I learned more about you than I could ever read from a bio in the last 10, 20 minutes just vibing out. We have a person who has expanded his consciousness in many directions of life. We're going to get into it all. We are a fan of his product that he's created and brought to the market, many of them through the brand Jublee. We're about to smoke some of the hash and about to learn some stories. We're talking anthropologic. Is that a word?
Yes,
I think so.
It is.
We're talking well-traveled. We're talking well-intentioned. And we're talking a brilliant, beautiful soul. Please put your joints up and your hands together for Alex! Say your last name for me.
Poulain.
Thank you.
Oh.
Thanks for being here, bro. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today.
You are just a ray of sun.
Yeah, we so appreciate
on the
your
darkest
energy.
day. And I don't know how, I'm a little flabbergasted as well because of everything that we learned about you in like the last, I'm like, where can we start this conversation? Because everything that we just talked about, I'm like, should we go back and re-talk about
Listen,
that?
let's start from the present. We got the homie from
Montreal.
From Montreal in the city, repping his brand. How was your day today? How were you? What'd you get up to today?
A lovely day. I was traveling. I traveled by train to get there. It's one of my favorite ways to get to Toronto. Chilling, taking an edible, just relaxing. So yeah, it was just got here.
How long is the train ride?
It's 5 hour.
Wow. They have food on this train?
It's better food than the plane, though.
Yeah, nice.
I would say so.
Good.
It's relaxing as well.
Yeah, good.
It forces you to just chill,
Yeah, do you edible and then...
I do edible every time I get to travel more than an hour, I would say.
Flying is our mode of transportation throughout Canada, I think. And I love taking an edible just like right before you go on in security. Mm-hmm. And as you're like sitting down, you've put everything away. You have all your shit that you need for when the plane goes up, and that edible kicks in, and you're like, I'm fucking ripped.
Flying high, yeah.
It's so good.
I had your edibles, these delicious fruit chews here. This is like my favorite. This with the lavender. So I'm just gonna geek out. I'm gonna get right to it and just like fan out for a minute. This has totally changed my idea of the purpose edibles can serve because it goes beyond the compounds of THC, CBD, which are great. We got some CBN in here, which really does like naturally help you get into a restful vibe, like melatonin or whatever kind of, like it's a natural component. But we got lavender. Like the smell and the taste adding to the momentum of the other compounds and components that are going on. Love that, love that, love that. So I've taken a couple plane rides high on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Because that's we want to get there with the edibles because, cannabis is a part of what we sell, but it's not the superstar. We actually provide effect-specific edibles through food science, So each and every edibles that you can see here provide an effect on the human body, even without the cannabinoids in them. Ooh. And then we enhance the effect with the cannabinoids to direct it to a particular place. And as an extractor, we control the supply chain, so we're able to produce a reproducible effect each and every time through, doing the edible, doing the extraction, sourcing the product, and then as he mentioned, as I'll mention in this particular one, as lavender. Lavender, as we know in weed, has linalool. Linalool is a sedative compound as well. It has caryophyllene as well. And in this bar as well, there's a little bit of pepper, not enough to taste it, but just to enhance the caryophyllene profile. And then we mix it with wild hand-picked blueberries from northern Quebec.
Woo! Hello.
And then I use the lavender that we use, comes from 45 minutes from our facility, and I grind it myself in a -20 environment to preserve all the volatiles of the lavender, because smell is effect, and effect is what we sell. We don't sell weed, we sell effects. We sell ways to feel. And then each and every color that you see here provide a particular effect for 75% of the people that tries it,
Wow. Can we go through...
Spoken like a chef. I just got to give him the flowers on the expression because I'm such a geek and I think cannabis deserves a mind and a heart like this because when you speak about cannabis and the way that, you're pairing it is like a chef. I also want you to get into that because I think you've spent some time with food. Sorry to cut you off though, Win. I just like that sort of expression is so amazing.
Yeah, I haven't heard of a product that I guess has such specific intent for every specific product. So I'd love you to like go through and let us know what the intention is for these, because that's like such a great way to get to people. Like,
Easy,
that's
great clip.
genius. Yeah.
Speak to Instagram.
Pardon me.
Oh, lovely.
I'm just curious though, because I used the coconut, coconut and vanilla during Can Expo this year back in March, because I was really quite busy through those couple of days, and I
Can Expo.
didn't get out to the consumption lounge as much as I would have liked probably, and that guy kept me going for through the days.
Oh, I'm so glad
like
to
I
hear
was
that.
just pretty much high on that, like throughout the entire
So
day.
good.
Yeah.
This one's a fruit bite, and it's the sleepy one, and it tastes like, you know, those delicious sun-ripe fruit bars. I used to have them at high school all the time. They taste like that, but like an elevated version. It tastes so good. So that's for sleepy. What's next? What's the brown?
And then the brown one is the CBD only version that we have. So we wanted to provide a CBD only approach. So this one here is very different than the others. The others are 2 times 20 gram fruit bites because we want to provide the food necessary to provide the effect that I was speaking about. So, but in this particular one, we decided to do 4 times 10 grams, and 25 milligrams of CBD per dose for a total of 100 milligrams of CBD in the
Nice.
bag. So high CBD content, and we did 4 bites instead of 2 because we study, you know, like every product has a deep study in it, and we learned that the consumption pattern of the CBD consumer is different than the THC consumer.
Yes.
Definitely, you know.
Thank you.
And then we adapt. That's how we adapt as an industry. You know, we listen to the consumption pattern, then we provide various products and formats that, you know, will fit with this consumption pattern. And this CBD version is the first one that we did in this particular format to adapt to the consumption pattern. And crazily, it sells almost as much as our THC products,
Wow.
which is totally crazy. you know.
Yeah.
And it's made, you know, with all of these natural products. We try to mimic the effect of a brownie, you know, in the mouth and the feeling.
Oh, yes,
but it's not
please.
cooked. It's made with bananas. It's made with raw cocoa nibs that are crunchy, sea salt, real vanilla, because vanilla
Shit.
creates an anti-inflammatory effect in your body as well. If we enhance it with cannabinoids, it creates a synergy. It goes further than the entourage, you know. That's what we try to provide with the various products that we offer.
Oh my, I got a quarter chub. That's so
Oh
beautiful.
my God, that you just said that.
That's so funny. That's amazing to hear that you're listening to, like, exactly how is a market supposed to expand unless we're actually hearing what people are going to apply it and then create those formats for people to fucking enjoy it that way. What do we got next?
Oh, then we got the apple and matcha variety. So in this, we try to have like a spectrum of effects. So we utilize the various, you know, nomenclatures that we use in the industry. So sativa and indica are used as nomenclature to say uplifting and, you know, relaxing.
They're symbols, yeah.
So these symbols, we utilize them in our spectrum to explain the product for bartenders to be able to explain it to the consumer. So the more sativa-oriented spectrum of effect would be the apple and matcha
Right.
variety.
Yeah.
But not only because
Apple
of the
gives
weed.
you energy.
Yeah,
Matcha.
Matcha.
And the matcha comes with caffeine. From, you know, it's in the coffee, it's in the tea, but we used the maximum dose of caffeine allowed in Health Canada, so 15 milligrams of naturally occurring caffeine that comes from organic matcha tea. And so every fruit bite is a third of an espresso shot. And
And a little
sativa,
THC
you know?
and a little CBD.
CBD, THC, and then we use as well spices such as ginger and cinnamon to trigger digestion processes. So each and every product has a spice that enhance the bioavailability of each and every molecule you will ingest.
Let's go.
fucking go, Alex. What?
You're leveraging. I want you to keep going down the line, but I wanted to mention something too that you've told us off camera is you're leveraging. I want to say like classic natural science, like things that have, you're pairing something natural with something natural to create an effect, and that's like medicine. Like that's what we want. It's like ancient knowledge, but with a current technological upgrade of fusion, and like it's just so beautiful. That's so sick. The fact that you're using these components that like spark and inspire.
But what you just said right there, it's the essence of Jublee. It's where traditional knowledge meets modern, you know, technology and wisdom to make well-dosed wellness. You know? Well-dosed wellness comes with cannabinoid well-dosed, you know, through extraction and through controlling what we put in it, but as well as what we put in our body with it. You know?
Yeah.
well-dosed
100%.
wellness.
Well-dosed wellness. Yeah, that's what we're all about, you know. And all these effects, as you say, natural science. We can get back to the blueberry and lavender. This variety was inspired by my grandma, actually. You know, when I was a kid, she used to send me picking blueberries and blackberries, and she used to make this particular blueberry jam with a ton of lavender in it. And she used to say, "I'll give that to you after supper, so you'll be calm enough for me to read my book." And you know, now she's
And it
93
was
years
delicious.
old. And it was delicious.
She's
Very
93.
floral. Now she's 93 years old and she eats these fruit bites before she goes to sleep.
Yes!
Talking about full circle, eh?
She inspired you. You create it, and now she
That's
gets it.
awesome.
Oh,
I'm so glad. You know, I've got goosebumps every time I tell the story because, you know, I've been raised by these women, you know, and they teach me everything, you know, and being able to provide them solace and various, you know, control of their issues and pain and stuff like that is the name of the game for me, you know. It's the oil on my fire, as we say in French.
you can feel that. You can feel that. I want you to keep going down the line, but I got to talk about another product that you had. We went to the beach and got fucking toasted. White people issues, you got to get that nice tan on. How you think this happens? By accident? So we go and we get, you know, we spend like 10 hours in the sun. And we came
Six.
home. And 6 is a lot. But like we got home and we didn't have aloe vera, but we had your amazing product. And the oil, the fig,
Fir.
the mango, the fig and fir, the mango seed oil,
Mango butter oil.
mango
butter.
mango butter,
Yeah.
and we went glump, and like I was telling him it's like a butter skillet, like it's like a skillet tossing butter, and it was like because I was still like hot from the sun.
Yeah.
But that soothed me so much, and it was so delightful because I could smell it like off of me, and that soothed me. So I got like a compound effect between like the essential oils and what it was actually doing topically, and like that was just
so glad.
that was beautiful. Yeah, I could feel the intention of healing through that product.
Thank you.
I could feel it's like. Cause it's like I'm like, it's funny. This is a weed product. Like there's a big THC thing on it. It's like that's great, but it's like this is a product that I feel like you get at Holt Renfrew. Like this is like a nice ass self-care product, like a nice jar and everything. So thank you.
Yeah, I want to use it. And I don't even I forgot that it kind of had CBD in it. It doesn't. It's just CBD, straight CBD in that one, right?
The first one.
Well, what's the purpose of putting CBD in a body butter?
It's a very good question. I'd say like the body butter itself, as Elle mentioned, could be sold without CBD, and it would be sold into a pain management section because it's pain management because of the essential oils that we use. In the similar fashion that we developed the edibles, we dig deep into tradition. You know, First Nations here in North America have been using balsam for millenniums to use as a pain relieving essence, as a bronchodilatator for various ailments. You know, so we just use various traditional knowledge and we used it in modern science, and then we use the essential oils sourced from Quebec, obviously, and with the lavender as well, and then we use bergamot essential oils, and all of these compounds mixed with the whipped mango butter, the argan oil, and the various jojoba oil, it makes it more available for the whole medicine to control pain. And then when we utilize CBD in it, it enhances an effect that's already there.
Yes.
It's the pain control, and then the CBD has other side effects as well, which is leaving the skin rejuvenated as well, so it helps as well to remove various types of inflammation. We might have various types of eczema as well, so it
So
widens,
literally,
you know.
it helps with the sunburn. Like actually,
Yes,
literally,
does
it helps
and
with
it
that
helps
inflammation.
with the pain in the peripheral nervous system. We say so it doesn't get into the bloodstream, but it stays into the periphery. So it will numb some type of pains. It depends on the type of pain that you have. If you have like this very acute pain, we have an extra strength body butter as well, sweet citrus, different type. That's for chronic pain with acute issues. And then we have the flower and fir. That's for day-to-day after sport when you feel like a bit tense, but you don't have like this crazy pain.
Yeah.
You can use, we think that CBD can be used for various types of pain, but you don't need to utilize a 2,000 milligram body butter on your skin if you only have some aches after the gym, it would be a waste.
Yeah.
So that we try to educate through various types of product for particular moments.
Yeah, because it's definitely like become an everyday staple in my body routine, and I don't think I've had and this is no shade to brands because I love you guys, but I don't think I've had like a daily
Cannabis product.
cannabis
Me neither.
body product.
Honestly.
I have had a face, a specific face cream, Axia.
Yeah,
That's,
that was
shit's
cool.
dope. But and I just really love how it feels on the skin. It feels like my skin absorbs it. like I don't know how to
No,
explain
on
it.
the
Like
body.
some
There's a
lotions,
science
like it
behind
feels
that.
like it sits on
It
top of it.
feels like there's a science behind it because I know what you mean.
It feels
you
like
can't
it, like,
rub it
gets
in,
in.
but this it like it sinks in and you can. It's almost like, ooh, my skin needed that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all tradition behind that, like topical cannabis for millenniums was fat-based with animal fat mainly.
Okay.
When I was in the Philippines working as a cook in the northern Luzon Island, I hurt my wrist at some point. And
Okay,
like
just
this-
I know,
just
Jesus.
like skip over a whole lifetime of information. Why don't you? I want you to prove your point though, so keep going. But we're gonna return to
But
this.
there's the fat base that helps, getting into the skin as well, because the body will recognize it as such, But I will keep the geek side,
No, hey man, and trust me, even if we look a little bit like we're like, huh? There's smart people who listen, so don't doubt the audience. So geek out as much as
what's
you
the
like.
fat in it? The argan or
The fat is everything that we use in it is fat based. So we have like the mango butter is fat based. We have almond oil. We have argan oil. We've got jojoba oil. But the jojoba is not jojoba. Depends who says it. But it's not an oil. It's a liquid that comes from a tree. But it's a liquid wax. This liquid wax actually mimics exactly the chemical compound that we call sebum that we secrete in our faces, in our body, in our hair, the natural fat of our body. It's bioidentical to the jojoba, which makes when you use
We're
the jojoba.
trees.
Yeah, but we come from the same place, for
Yeah.
just like millions of years of differences, it makes people look different, But like
Fair.
it brings, the body recognizes it as such, and then it permeates more the barrier for the peripheral nervous system, and then we can enhance that through various other compounds, such as the bergamot oil that we use, such as
Nice.
various types of solvent that are occurrent in the natural oils of balsam fir, let's say.
Jeez.
Okay, that was a
So
great
delightful.
sidebar. We're at coconut and vanilla.
And I just wanted to also give you the opportunity to open the door to chat about this incredible hash.
So this is a particular hash that I age myself at home. So it's not a hash that's in market, this one yet, but we have one in market
Sorry,
so far.
I'm
No worries.
bragging at this point.
Oh,
I
but
know.
it's wonderful.
It's a
But we can-
beautiful piece of hash.
So this piece of hash is my mom's grown, and we do it together. It's a tradition, So that's my hash knowledge comes from home, but as well from my travels. So,
Respect.
yeah, so that's where we launched this recently, like this 3 months old, like cured aged hash made with dry sift. We wanted to reproduce the jar feeling of traditional hash from the 80s, So
Yes.
I actually, we've developed this hash to have like this, and then you can play with it a bit, and you can find like the smell. But we worked a lot to do a simple thing. Just hash is only a couple ingredients, but to achieve that, we had 2 groups of old school hash smokers. 10 from the west, 10 from the east,
Nice.
and I just made them smell my ash and made them smell some of other ash. And
Yo,
they-
smell my ash.
Smell my ash. Oh shit!
That's
so
bro.
As a French speaker, I didn't get it first, but I do get it now. I
That-
need a puff of that. I'm kidding.
If that's not on a shirt already.
Oh, smell my
Smell
ash.
my hash.
Disciplined stoners, smell my ash.
Oh my god, I love that.
Oh, that's lovely.
Can we?
That is lovely.
We're having fun.
You said that your knowledge comes from your mom and your travels, and just for anyone who doesn't know, can we talk about what those travels entailed and what you were doing? A little bit of your background in hash, because I feel like people who are maybe listening, like, it's cool. I don't know. There's not all brands have a you. They do have a you, but they don't do you like you're doing you with your brand.
No
when-
one can do you
No,
like you do you,
no.
boo-boo.
and a lot do. Like
Love that.
a lot of the independent people
I do, that's
understand
true.
that you have to come and do this, and you have to go to Kind and participate and go to
Share
Camp
the
Canna
love.
and share the love, all of that.
You
But
were,
I think
you were with us on stage at Can Expo.
Yeah, judging the culinary competition together, and then we did the panel as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
together.
yeah.
That's when we first got to actually meet and
Yeah,
hang. Shout
yeah.
out Can Expo.
Yeah, I was a groupie before, and now
Now you're a homie.
Yeah, and from groupie to homie, another T-shirt.
Hey! I love that, brother.
Thank you, man.
And this hash.
Much
holy.
appreciated.
And so, but you have, you can tell that you have stake in this company, and you have a rich background of like why this product is good. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of fucking knowledge behind this, so people should know that.
And travel and study and catching game.
Oh, makes feel good. My first joint today.
Oh, cheers.
Welcome, bro.
Cheers, appreciate it.
Welcome.
Oh, lovely. So yes, hash has always been a passion for me, but it's been more than that. You know, it's been my medicine. It's been my the way I pay my bills. It's been the way I pay for my school. It's been the way I help my family forever. You know, as a kid, you know, I was awkward. I was not able to look people in the eyes and everything. But then when I smoked hash first, I found a better version of myself, and I became good at school. You know, I became good at school, but I couldn't pay for it. You know, so I needed to buy it. I needed to hustle it to consume it. So then I got confident because I started selling weed, you know, and stuff like that. So hashish came from there. And at that particular moment, there was a civil war in Lebanon. And a lot of immigrants came to Gatineau, which was my hometown near Ottawa. And then a lot of Lebanese red hashish came with it, you know, and then we diversified the type of hashish we had. And I got really passionate about this effect, and they teach me how to make it as well. So we decided to grow patches of Friesland in cornfields and isolate our own, you know, and do our own Lebanese hash, but locally speaking. So that was my first encounter with traditional hashish making. And then after that...
How old were you?
I'm 36. 36.
No,
Not
but
now.
during then.
When?
Back then I was 13.
Whoa.
So gangster. He wasn't out here just rubbing beet
So you
juice on
had this
black hash.
crazy experience with hash where it like basically changed your life in a way where you could like show up and be that better version of yourself. And you're like, fuck, this is who I want to be. So I need to get my hands on this stuff.
But I cannot afford it.
So you start selling it at 13.
As I hustled my first gram of hashish at 13, I started making it myself in my mom's garage at 16. And then
Did your mom know?
She knew afterwards. It took a little bit of time, but she accepted, you know, the hustle. She accepted the way, you know, I was doing it. But yeah, I was doing it in a very respectful way and very like, you know, it's
responsible.
And it's clandestine work, you know. I didn't want to put people in you know, in deep shit because of that. So it was like always very clandestine, you know. I always wanted to.
What are you saying?
Clandestine.
Clandestine?
Illegal. Illegal.
I don't know.
Maybe it's a French word. Maybe I cannot say it in English.
I'm not sure. I'm not.
Okay, we'll see. So maybe someone can tell us.
I'm not great with words.
No,
you
but
know
it
that
might
here
be,
on the podcast. Okay.
It's
cool.
illegal work. So I would say like so it was the beginning of it, but the deep
Wow, you must have been a mature 13-year-old.
Yeah, just to even think like that, like I'm gonna have to do something to generate some income so I can get this thing that I know helps me.
Like
I
what?
loved it so much, though.
Yeah.
It made me feel so good. Every time I felt bad, you know, cannabis was there to, you know, put me back on my feet, you know. And, and
Look
being
how white
this-
that
this-
ash is.
Yeah, it burns very well.
That
It's only dry
ash on
sift,
the
you know.
hash.
And this one is this particular hash has been aged for almost 2 years. So it's
Can you take us through
nice vintage.
that dude? Thank you for that language.
Oh,
the vintage.
I want to get to some of the travels.
I know we got so many fucking
I know,
questions.
there's a lot.
You didn't think, hey, you dreamed it. Hey, we want to be on the show. We're gonna fucking just
That's my pleasure, man. I was looking forward for it very much. Smoking a joint with you, you know.
Yeah,
you know
Sick.
that's why we
And
make
the
what
sun's
we do.
coming
you know.
out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we're
That's
being
perfect.
exactly. To your point, this is a big reason we love being in this community and industry because of all the cool people you get to meet. So sorry, when you had a question before
Which
mine.
side was it going?
It's
Sorry.
going-
I was
it's
just,
mine.
You hit it twice
Yeah.
on the way there.
Oh,
and back.
yeah,
No,
sorry.
you should.
I'm gonna
You
be
should.
so high, you know?
No, you should.
I was
Your
like, why
first
don't we
joint of the
always
day?
do this with a guest?
Yeah.
I guess at the end it's just
They
so
smoke-
fucked up. You know?
Yeah. Oh, most times. Yeah.
I've got 2 glasses of water. I'm good.
Yeah.
We've gotten people
I
fucked
hate it.
up.
You should. We talked about it last episode. We were like, should we go in front? Because sometimes we go in the back or the front. And our
I've seen
guest,
that, yeah.
Milka, who you just hung and met with, she was like, you should do it in the front to give people the opportunity to take it or not. So we start it, and then our first guest, Alex, is hitting it
And
both
then
ways.
getting higher because of that.
Which is amazing because it's your first joint of the day. So we need to prioritize your highness too.
I'm
Okay,
getting
so
there,
you're-
getting there.
You're 16. You're making hash in your mom's garage.
Exactly.
And what does this look like? Like, are you making it in like pretty abundant? Like what is? I don't know what it looks like. That was
Take us through the
20
process
years
of
ago, I
making
guess,
hash.
right?
Yeah, there was
in
2
your garage.
processes. The first process that I learned to make, was the dry sift, obviously, which is the classical one. So we use like various types of what we call cheesecloths, various types of cheesecloths to isolate and to, you know, tighten the cheesecloth on various types of like wooden boxes, I would say. And then we would rub the various types of biomass, mainly like the trims and the buds, the smaller buds, and then we would sell the Friesland as like bigger buds for other purposes, for flour, smoking. And then we would transform the hash with the smaller buds and then the trims for dry sift. And then this dry sift would be pressed afterward. So pressed with heat sometime to create like this Moroccan way, which it would be like a pressed with a little bit of heat, a lot of strength, and then there would be like this the red Lebanese. But the red Lebanese is not only the method; it's the plant itself. You need to take the plant further because the red pigment comes from the pistil of the plant itself, and pistils are usually orange. These molecules are called carotenoids. They're in carrots. They're in watermelons, and like if you want to have the red carotenoids, you need to take the plant later on in life. So you need to let it mature further than you would do for buds. You need to mature it, what they would do in the Beha Valley in Lebanon, where they do this red Lebanese hash, where it originates from. So we never did do the official red Lebanese in Quebec, because we're not in Lebanon, we don't have the same land race and everything, but we did get the method to take that pigment into the hash itself to mimic it. Because importing hash was too expensive at some point, and we made more money, growing some weed, some Friesland into the corn patches and shit like that, So that was a dry sift, and there was like the bubble ash, the early.
I passed him this hash joint as he was talking, and I just it looks like he's like telling, he's like blessing a biblical story. I love it.
It's a bit like that. It's very ritualistic.
I love it.
Yeah,
it looked too perfect to take.
But and then we started doing some types of bubble ash. But before Bubble Man started doing his bubble bags, back then we used the inside layer of a sleeping bag. Sleeping bag had these micron layers, like we ripped them apart, and we bought them in Canadian Tire, and we ripped them apart, and then we used to wash, But back then it wasn't called bubble ash. I learned the term bubble ash was water hash. We called it only water hash, like we isolate it with ice, and then we had these washing machine. We would break and redo and shit like that.
It was like it's
How
a washing
innovative.
machine, right?
Yeah, it was like a small washing machine, and then we would wash. We would keep a lot more of the compounds than we would do now with finer bags, because we had inner layers of sleeping bags, because obviously we didn't have the finer things. So the hashish was less melty than you could find like a nice melty bubble ash nowadays. So it was more looking like the dry sift style, but a bit stronger. So then we could have a premium product to sell.
So the dry sift stuff was a little bit more
It has, not necessarily cracked. It has less cannabinoid, because I can have like this one that you have, like it's very it's still like thick, and you can put a snake, you can put some crumbles. I'll leave you like that. Sorry. And you can make some crumbles, you can make a snake and everything, so it's still sticky. But because you can have a very, very cracky water ash if it's not like very well pressed, if it's not well matured, or if it's very strong in THCA, if it's not super decarbed as well. THCA is crystalline, so the higher percentage of THCA you will have, the higher chance you will have to have a sandy hash or a cracky hash. It would depend on the type of method as well. THCA, the non-decarbed molecule, the THC in the plant that's produced naturally by the plant itself, is more crystalline. You can make THCA crystal. Making THC crystal is super difficult. It's almost impossible. I never did it. Myself, it's nothing interesting doing it as well. But THC, what the crystal that you would see growing in a BHO or like a batter or something like that. All these little crystals are like mainly THCA or other non-decarb cannabinoid that are also crystalline in texture, in structure, molecularly speaking.
And then the other stuff that's in that, where the diamonds are like crystalline matter of those things, the other like oil or the water, that's the pure THC, or what's that stuff?
That's mainly terpenes, flavonoids, and you would have other cannabinoids, because there's viscous cannabinoids as well. A lot of cannabinoids are viscous in their own nature as well, but some of them are crystalline, and the method you would get to reach them and to work with them, it's always linked to their texture and their shape and their molecular structure.
Wow.
And all of that, you need to think about that.
How it fits together.
Because they are tridimensional things, molecules, and when you have like the THCA, it's like a THC with like a hat, a little hat, and this hat avoids it to get you high. Yeah, and it gets you, it doesn't get you high because of the hat.
Really?
And then when you decarb it, the little hat goes off, and then it gets you high. That's the way it goes.
So when you decarb, you're taking a little hat off.
Yeah.
And you're just letting her rip. Cheers to taking the little hat off.
Okay, so you're
I am so
that like blew
delightfully
my mind, and I
hash-high.
think I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that to fully absorb exactly what the process is.
Yeah,
But
thank you.
so you're 16, you're making this hash. That's cool. Are you selling it? Is that too invasive of a question?
No, I'm very proud of
It's
my past.
past.
I'm super proud of my past.
Yeah.
I'm proud of my legacy past. It made me, and you know, it was the comfort that I had, and through my whole life came from that. So how can I be ashamed of that? You know.
Bless.
Yes. Thank you.
And also I'm very proud of that, and I'm proud of, you know, I wish nobody would have to do it in the way I had to do it, because, you know, I wish it could be taught in schools, you know. I wish I can teach it to kids, you know, at some point, you know,
That
kids
could
been in
be-
skill to extract these molecular compounds, you know, and to bring, you know, pain relief to people around themselves. You know,
You're
it's a cool
science
skills,
with
you
an
know.
intention, and you happen to have cannabis to help you achieve that.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy,
beautiful.
man. I'm so grateful for that. It's just
I see a future where we definitely, the education, if it ever wakes up at all, it will look to people like you, and you specifically, to guide and lead and structure and like hold that important commitment to why this was being done in the first place.
Exactly.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you.
Holy fuck, thank you.
Thank you. But after 16 years old, so yeah, I sold cannabis myself. So I sold it. I sold it most of my life, all my life. I sold
Yeah.
cannabis, and then I came from a. Oh, thank you. I'm
You-
taking a small puff in the back.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't remember when I take it or when I don't.
Yeah.
We will.
As
Just
long as
whenever
it's
you
in-
want it.
Do you like it, guys? Do you like the
It's
taste,
so
the effect?
good.
It's
Do
on
you-
the lighter side, you know. It's
Like
just,
I'm feeling some tension that I was holding in my shoulders that I didn't recognize until I started smoking this.
Yeah, I'm actually high.
I feel like I'm breathing a little
I
bit
haven't
better.
I haven't been properly high like this in a minute.
Oh,
Hey,
I'm glad to hear that, man.
Yeah.
What do you
Thank
think about
Bless you. Wow.
smoke affecting the lungs?
Yeah, it's you know, it's not a good thing. It's never a good thing, because obviously I think we're not meant to puff a lot of various compounds in such concentrations. But you know, there's to everything there's a trade-off in life, and there's,
Yeah.
if the positive effect brings you somewhere that's, you know, that you calculate being better than the place you were before, I would say choose it. You know?
Yeah.
I would say if it, you know,
That's great. That's a great answer.
It's existentialism. I'd say like the liberty of everybody begins when the liberty of others stops. You know, so as long as you don't step in too much people's toes, you know, and you be you. You know?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Ah, yes.
Thank you for that.
That was
My pleasure.
Yeah, because it's tough sometimes, I think, for people who like care about you because they're coming from a great place, but to have them, I guess, be a little bit concerned, perhaps, of the amount that
Yeah.
anyone that they love is consuming. But you're right. Like, we're adults. We know the trade-off. We understand it. It's good to acknowledge that and take responsibility for that as a stoner, I think.
Exactly. And there's, go
sorry,
ahead,
no, you go.
I was just going. There's other issues in society like sedentarity, not moving all day. You know, it's a lot worse than smoking joints. You know, so let's
That's true.
address like kids not moving first, and then let's shame people for smoking weed.
Yeah, way
It's
after
never
that.
shame, yeah.
Way
Yeah,
after
or
that.
never. You know.
Yeah, no, my thing is I'm just like completely unapologetic about it, because I don't even think that this is just my belief, because I do study the effects of the mind, and what you believe often manifests a lot more than what you thought was fact. I think that there's an anti-inflammatory element to cannabis and all products, flower, especially hashish, where if you take in smoke, for sure, the extra CO2 is probably going to agitate your lungs. But by the time the effects of the cannabis are through, after that initial smoke agitation, yes, you got me. I think by the time that the positive value of the way that the compounds of cannabis affect your lungs, by the time it's all said and done, are like basically balanced out. That's just my belief. That's what I think.
It's
I
one of
can
the theory,
visualize
yeah.
it. Would you agree with that?
It is a theory actually. It's a studied theory nowadays. You know, you
Sick.
try to see what's the trade-off, and is the trade-off worth considering or not? You know, it's science. You know, and it will get there.
Yeah,
and I
for
hope,
sure.
And I hope it justifies what you just said.
Yeah, me too.
Sincerely,
too,
yeah,
me
sincerely, because it will, you know, it will be good. You know?
Yeah, that would be so.
No,
That'd be
If
such
I'm
a win
wrong,
for
I'm wrong.
stoners. Oh my god!
Like,
It's equivalent.
Yeah.
It's 50-50. It's just perfect. you know?
Balances itself out.
listen, I hear you about the smoke and the good thing, but really, at the end of the day,
It is God's plan. I feel like that could totally be true.
yeah. So
The harmful and beneficial effects,
Yeah.
just clear slate.
Quickly.
The perfect arm reduction.
Yeah,
You know, like,
exactly.
Perfect, just exactly, yeah.
And
I
then,
mean, I know a bunch of people who have gotten off of opioids via cannabis. You know, it literally is harm reduction.
That's one of our mission as well, you know, to provide various alternatives, you know, to classic prescription medicine that, you know, has its place, you know, has a lot of place for it, but, you know, there's alternative that should be first lines.
Yeah.
And they're
Come
not
on.
first line, and it's just crazy that they're not, you know.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, and in scientifically speaking, nowadays it doesn't make sense as well. So if we have the sociological aspect, the scientifical aspect, the economical aspect as well, you know, after that it becomes only ideology. And that's wrong in many, many ways, you know. So that's why we need to be talking about it and activism, you know.
Yeah.
And I've been a lobbyist as well in Quebec, one of the only lobbyists for edible cannabis, you know, back then, because edible cannabis wasn't legal in Quebec, you know.
Yeah, I
And
know.
we
You
needed
guys
to
had it
push, you know.
rough.
We harassed
for a
the Ministry of
while.
Health for 2 years for that.
Yeah.
good.
And when did that happen? Just last year?
Oh, 2 years ago,
2
we
years
we
ago.
managed to I sent personally 28 recipes to the various stakeholders in Quebec to their own house. It was borderline harassment that I did there, just to force them to define what it's going to be. Oh, I was going to your side. Sorry, man. I'm getting high.
No, you delivered the product for them to try?
I said it's going to be legal. Yeah, and they said yes, it's going to be legal. Let us the time to define. So I said, okay, you're going to define it. So I'm going to force you to define it. So I sent a lot of various types of recipes, you know, just to say what's going to be the sandbox, what's going to be the do's and don'ts. And then when they did the do's and don'ts, we took the door, and now we have 50% almost market share in Quebec edible market.
Wow.
Yes!
That was a boss ass move, bro.
Huge.
We decided to, because I failed twice, you know, and the second time I failed, it was because of that law that decided not to put edible cannabis, because investors, I had this chocolate truffle bean to bar from Ecuador with the sexual lubricant. That was my first brand that I wanted to push, you know.
No
and it was
way.
like chocolate with the face of the farmer as well, in the story of the farmer itself, you know, bean to bar. And, you know, next thing you know, Quebec says no to edibles. So my Quebec investors said no to me, obviously, because there was no distribution channel for it, you know. So it made me mad, you know.
Just out of curiosity, could you have gone to another province? Could there have been a distribution channel if they
Yes.
had? Okay.
They could, but my goal was
Fuck
to
that. Change shit.
But the goal was to go in Quebec first, you know. But
That's
then
totally
when I
fair.
was and my investors' goal was to go in Quebec first as well. So when Quebec was put out of the equation, I was, you know, my second startup failed, so it made me mad. It created a lot of time, and I had a lot of time on my hands. So I decided to be with that group. It's called the Quebec Council of Edible Cannabis, and I got. To become a lobbyist through that, you know, and to
Wow.
do some official lobbying, you know. That was my first time, and
You're not
Yeah.
scared to stand up to the system.
yeah, but when you think it's wrong, I think you need to stand it, and there's tools for it, there's ways for it. I've been an activist, I've been in various, you know, how do you say that in English when you go in the street and I forgot the name?
Protest?
Protest, sorry, yeah, sorry. So yeah, I've been, you know, all my life I've been an activist for weed and various, you know, human rights and stuff like that, and I think
Sick.
it's our role if we can do it, you know. If we can do it, we should.
Yeah. Fuck. That's good.
This is like an island oat bar.
Oh, so that's
From
the one.
Starbucks.
That's the coconut and vanilla one.
I
yeah.
fucking love
Yeah.
coconut.
So that's becoming one of our favorite SKU in Ontario.
It's
People are
so
loving it.
good,
Yeah.
and it doesn't have much sugar in
Yeah.
it.
And it
But
feels
there's
like a
no
snack.
artificial sugar. It's just the sugar from the fruits. There's
It
no
feels
added
like a
sugar.
snack. It is a snack.
Yeah, I know. I want it in bulk. Yeah, you ate.
I ate one and a half.
of them.
And the CBG in it. So this is the compound, you know, like
Uplifting.
uplifting and focusing. So we said like the apple and matcha, the uplifting one, that would be the most uplifting. But the coconut and vanilla would be a daytime consumption, but for different reasons. Still sativa, but for focus. Like art creation, writing,
That's
reading.
me. That's why I
you
love
know.
it.
Exactly.
Also,
And then
though,
at
that's why I
nighttime,
thrived at Can Expo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
I
I
what.
was
yeah.
literally
Just
on
going.
those like the whole 2 days.
Yeah, you know, these feel
3 days.
classy too. These feel like, just look at this nice, like, you want to hand this to someone as a gift.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it delivers with the product. So this tastes like a chef made it. Why?
I'm a culinarian by background. You know, my first career was as a chef. I used to study cuisine, and I used to work in French restaurant and various types of.
I can't believe you're only
establishments,
36.
Yeah, I've
You
had the
should be
chance,
like
you know.
50.
You've been living life,
With what
bro.
I
Your
know
soul
about
is
your
getting-
background,
Yeah, I've got opportunities, and I'm grateful for every opportunity that I have. But you know, these opportunities came because of privilege. You know, obviously being a white man in our society allowed me to become what I've become. You know, and other ways I couldn't have become that. You know.
and like, listen, I believe that we must take our privilege to a certain extent, because that means that, in my opinion, that you've elevated out of your like first three chakras, and you have an opportunity to really work within the heart and like combine your top three chakras within your heart, you know? So like
Take what
you're
you got and
taking
run,
care of
yeah.
your basic needs essentially, and you need to show people what can happen when basic needs are taken care of. I fully believe in like standard basic income. I think that would like change the world for the better so much.
Same.
Because you give people like a fighting chance to do what they want to do. And some people will realize that they just want to do whatever. They want to do what they have always been doing, and that's sick and awesome. But it would be so innovative because those basic needs would be met. And then that's where privilege comes from, right? You're on top
totally
of
right.
survival.
Yep.
You've evolved out of survival. So it's important that people take their privilege and do everything they can with it, I
believe so.
think. And,
Love that sentiment.
You know,
And let me tell you something
but also
too, though,
acknowledge
bro.
it.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
acknowledge that
Acknowledge.
that's true.
Here's the thing, though, too. You showed all the way up for those fucks. You know what I'm saying? For that shit, every time you fucking did that shit. You showed up ready to play the game, showed up for yourself. And, like, that is also, no matter where you come from, sometimes just that thing. You know, climbing the social ranks myself have just been, like, showing up. Like, showing up.
Yeah.
I started with someone who started life privileged. I, like, outside of this privilege we're talking about, I'm talking about like socioeconomical, rather, like because of my grit to have to show up, or else you don't even get the opportunity to maybe show up.
It's true.
It actually created atrophy for other partners I've had who, when they were socioeconomically privileged, they didn't have the grit to keep showing up.
Exactly.
So you had the gift to, so no matter where you come from, you still gotta be a little fucked up. You gotta be a little fucking weird, like.
Sanity is overrated, man.
It's so
Sanity
good though.
is
Yeah, I don't
But
want to live in that
what-
shit.
So your why to show up has continued just to be like how you take the opportunity as a culinary person that required. What did that require of you?
But I studied cuisine. I worked in cuisine since I was 14 years old. You know, cooking most of my life. I love cooking. Cooking for me is a therapy. As a kid, I always cooked. You know, even with all the stigmas that came from that for a little boy at in that particular period of time. You know, but you know,
Because it
for
was
me.
it was looked on as more feminine.
Yeah, it was looked on as more feminine. You know,
recall
like
that.
I recall having like jokes. You know, I had, you know, for my
recall
grandma
that.
bought me this. I wanted the easy bake oven when I was a kid. You know, like, and back then they were only pink. You know, and I didn't care. But you know, like my father cared, and some people cared around me. You know, and stuff like that. But you know, not necessarily my father, but you know, the generation represented by,
Yeah,
my dad,
totally.
and all of this for me was, you know, I felt it a bit, but I wanted to bake cakes. You know, more than I wanted to.
More
felt
than I
ashamed.
wanted to be liked,
Yeah.
I wanted to fucking do something cool.
Exactly, you know, that's what that's what it. You know, and then you know, my family accepted all of that, and it's super cool, you know. But
That's
it's just the it was always a passion for me, cooking, and I just feel grateful to be able to express myself through cooking again, you know. But it was a big part of my life at the beginning of my career. But I got to study anthropology as well, and got to travel, you know, all over the place to be a cook as well, you know, and to cook with, you know, wonderful women all over the world. Being raised by a single mom as well was. You know, gave me, you know, these kind of, I'd say this perspective on life that, you know, most men don't have. Seeing the women struggle in our society,
Yeah.
being raised by strong grandmas and, you know, grandpas as well, that was super
Single mom
amazing.
as well, yeah.
Yeah,
Only child, single mom.
yeah. I've got brothers, younger brother and older sister.
Your middle
Yeah,
child.
middle child, yeah. Yeah. But and then my mom had the kindergarten as well, you know, at home when I was, you know, a kid. But she left the kindergarten afterward. But I was raised in a at-home kindergarten, so I was a diaper ninja at 7 years old, you know. So it provided me a lot of like
Life skills.
skills, or as well as purpose, you know, like having always a purpose in life, you know. And then, you know, but not being able to travel. I started being able to travel when I was, you know, an adult. I sold my car and I went to Morocco, you know.
Nice.
Fucking nice. You
Yeah.
sold your car and went to Morocco and then learned about hash in Morocco, because Morocco is like hash capital, right?
It's the biggest exporting country of hashish or cannabis in the world.
Cannabis,
Wow.
period?
Yeah, cannabis. I don't know if today in the legal perspective, but I'd say like in the illegal world, Morocco was the centerfold of cannabis exports in the world. You know, the geographical location on the Gibraltar Strait near the Mediterranean Sea, Europe, Africa down there. You know, in the production there, weed has been cultivated there since, if I recall right, the 8th century of our era.
Wow.
So it's been brought by the Arabic world when they conquered the Nordic Berber tribes of northern Africa.
So we've been smoking weed and drinking weed and hashishing weed for fucking ever.
Exactly.
This is nowhere near new. This
No.
is such natural behavior for us.
Yeah, tradition.
To source out this plant and be like, well, that feels good.
You know, and the first interaction was just because we ate the seeds, we believe, you know.
We
And
what?
Right?
We
Because
think, you know,
how-
it's a theory, you know.
Yeah, that's
It's
a good,
theory.
cool theory.
We said sorry, I just said
No.
too close.
Sorry.
And you know, the theory is that as hunter-gatherers and pickers, you know, we picked the seeds, you know, of cannabis that were rich in various oils. For us, it was one of a staple that we could use in the wild.
Yes.
But whilst, you know, picking these various little seeds, our hand became covered with a resin that protected this actual seed. And then at some point, when you eat the seed and you spend the day under the sun, this oil becomes decarbed a little bit, you know. And then once decarbed, it becomes activated. And then when you eat the seed and you have the little piece of resin on it, you might get the psychoactive effect from the actual trichomes, you know. So that's one of the theory of the first interaction between human and this plant came, and then the co-evolution of this plant beginning as, you know, further than 14,000 years. But, you know, cultivating it and seeing it, you know, as a ritualistic tools. We find it in various tombs, you know, in textile, in the grain size, you know, in the seed size, or in the resin, you know, on bongs covered and fossilized on various types of bong all over the world. You know.
So this leads me in perfectly to you're an anthropologist. You are fully studying humans, and you quite literally did study religion. And can you tell us about that?
My passion while studying anthropology was mainly the interaction between plant consumption and various human religious behavior. That was very fascinating for me, because before I started studying anthropology, I had to I traveled to Morocco, traveled to Australia as well, and I got to meet various, you know, culture that were deeply anchored into tradition. And then when I met these people, I witnessed, as I mentioned before, my own ignorance in many things, you know. In many things I witnessed the way we interacted with our worlds. My ignorance with cannabis, first and foremost, when I met people in Morocco that gave me majoun, which is an edible for sleeping, and then an edible for the day, and a hash for sleeping, and a hash for working. And then for us back then, they were weed. There was weed, you know. That we had some strains, you know.
Nice.
It was not diverse, you know. So this traditional world brought this comprehension of the diverse effect of cannabis that could be used, and that's what we propose, you know.
That's fucking so cool.
I don't know where I was going with that.
The
but,
anthropology.
Oh, yeah,
You
that was the
go
question,
to,
yeah.
So you're out here visiting chieftains. You're out here peeping game from like these folks who are doing it the old school way. And what are you documenting this? Are you booking interviews? Are you stumbling into tribes? Are you going to cities and asking the info desk? What are you doing? How are you approaching getting this knowledge?
I'd say like the first story was one of the best, you know. It was not in the anthropological, you know, landscape back then. I was like 19, 20 years old in northern Morocco. I just wanted to
But it's all the study of humans,
Yeah,
kind
it
of,
is,
right?
is.
Just living.
And it triggered everything for me, you know. It triggered a lot of things, you know. And then I got to make a sheesh in Ramadan and in the northern part of Morocco, and I was supposed to go 3 weeks, and I ended up staying 7 months, you know.
That's what I'm talking about. Just let the spirit call you and flow.
But I wanted to see the desert so much, you know. It was so poetic. Like all my life, I read like books about, you know, like these parts of the world, and I couldn't travel, you know. We didn't have the money to travel, so I really wanted to get there. So that's why I chose Morocco first.
You watch Aladdin?
Yeah, obviously.
Saying I dream about the East too.
Yeah. Exactly, you know, and the food and everything there. I wanted to experiment it, you know, and then when I got there, I wanted to see the desert, but it was a summer. It was very hard to get there. But when I got to this part of the desert, I wanted to get there myself, you know. And I had made hashish in the north that I brought with me, like 250 grams more or less, you know.
So sick.
And it got me hashish. Actually, always we can say lubricated socially my life in these parts of the world, you know, because people didn't want to know shit about me. I was there, and I was just like this white guy that brought no value to nobody. It was just asking questions like stupidly.
Yeah.
And then I went to the well every morning to just get my myself accepted by the local Amazigh tribes.
Smart.
And then they never looked at me at all. So the thing I did, I said, fuck it, I'm going to buy myself a camel and I'm going to show, because it was like, the camel is the social status in this part of the world, you know. So I went back to the souk, bought myself a camel. Then my strategy was sound, you know. My strategy was to take someone's attention. When he got to the camel, show him my brick of hash. And then hash is very valuable there, but I couldn't go and see people with my hash. I see my hash, do you want to be my friend? So I needed to have a technique for that.
Oh my
and then, you know,
God.
an old man came and see my big Malian camel, and he said, oh, it's very cool. And I said, yeah, that's cool too. And he just took the camel because he had like this nose ring and then this with this string, and he just welcomed me to the tribe, and I became a butcher for 3 months.
A butcher?
A butcher, that was my job, the butchering goats.
You
in the
got
Sahara
a,
Desert, you know? That was pretty cool.
okay, you got a job in this Sahara Desert by showing that you had hash?
And the camel was the door, and the hash was the gift. I don't know if it's...
How did you find
This
out
just
that the
became
camel was like of status there?
But I've read books all my life about on that part of the world, but then I've seen it there because I was there and I was seeing I was going at the well to see people watering the camels because I knew there's no human in the desert if there's not it's not camel, it's dromedary that we call it, only one hump. But we call in English we say camel for both, but there's a nuance, 2 humps. It's in Asia, it's camels, and in Northern Africa it's dromedary, 1 hump.
Wow.
Similar family, but there's a nuance. I don't know.
This just became the coolest weed story ever said on the podcast. Like, who went to the Sahara Desert and used a brick of hash to get in with the tribe and become a butcher? You butcher goats? What
Yeah,
did-
because I was a cook before. Because I used to work in a butchery shop in Jean Talon's Market in Montreal. You know, like
That's fucking
I learned how to
like
butcher
St.
animals
Lawrence
there.
Market, kind of.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest outdoor market in Canada. Jean Talon's Market. I live next door to it. It's a lovely place. You know, and I used to be a butcher when I was in school and Cégep, which is like.
So you know how to chop up an animal. You know your way around.
Yeah, I always loved to hunt, fish, and cook and.
When
That's amazing.
so you're in this tribe for 3 months.
Yeah, how'd you get out?
Yeah, when were you like, I guess it's time for me to leave now?
It wasn't my choice. It wasn't my because the temporality of these people were moving. You know, we were moving and we were staying in various places. We even crossed borders illegally because there's sand. I went in Algeria through sand. In Mauritania through sand because there's no border. In sand. Because these people are transnational people. They are in the southern parts of Morocco at the beginning of the season, and they will end up probably in Ethiopia, Eritrea at some point in their life, trading. Back in the days, the trading was much more extensive. Today, with the frontier and the wars and the commerce and the pressure of the Western world, it's much more different. And it was decades ago. It was I'm 36 years old, so I was 19 back then. But
Holy fuck.
it's the reality is different. These people are transnational. So I was in Oasis in southern Algeria, smoking hash, chopping goats, and being there illegally, not having a stamp on my passport because I was in
my
Algeria, just
God.
geographically speaking.
Who did you fly into, or where did you fly into?
I flew in at the airport of was Agadir. Agadir was the Agadir is it's like a balneary city with like with hotel in the southern part of Morocco. But there's a lot of places that are wonderful in Morocco, like Essaouira, and they have all their identity, particular type of hashish. In Essaouira, it's called the chocolate of Essaouira. The chocolate d'Essaouira, it's like cooked on the outside, very melty in the inside. It looks like a Reese chocolate bar, And all these nuances, every corner I thought I knew something. I said, oh no, I don't know shit. There's much more to know.
That's amazing. That's the feeling you want to get when you're traveling. That's what you want to chase.
Excuse me though, but so what happened?
But I ended up coming out of the desert, and then I gave my camel to a lady that helped me because I was dehydrating at some point. But it's a whole other story.
So,
but it's
so you bought a camel.
Yes,
Yeah.
I bought the dromedary itself.
May I ask how much a camel ran you?
I got fooled, of course, because I was like
Because
this
you're a
young
white guy.
and
You're gonna pay double and a half.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was the equivalent of 400 Canadian dollar back in 2008, 2007,
That's a
2008.
big investment.
Yeah.
And it was a camel, but it was also like the baskets as well. I had like dried fig, dried meat. I had like buckets to put water, but the buckets of water are surrounded with wool that you actually wet if you want to get the water cooler. If you're and then the wool gets wet,
course,
and then it keeps like all of this.
Wow.
And then I had salts and cooking wares and stuff like that. So when I get back to the well, the Berber tribe that saw me every now and then at the well trying to talk to them, and they didn't even look at me. They saw me coming back with this particular camel, and that's what attracted the attention, obviously, because it's as a social status tool. It was like coming into a car show with a Ferrari when
Right.
everybody else had like normal car, Volkswagen and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's.
That's
Did you ride the camel?
Sometime, but it's not usual for a man of my age to ride. It was not usual for a man of my age to ride a camel, and in the culture there. So I did ride the camel, but that's why at some point I went alone because I wanted to actually smoke hash and ride my camel, and it was something that I wanted to do, even if it wasn't socially acceptable to do so.
You're just
I took like a small a map of a region, and I went alone for a couple of days. I lost myself actually. I was super scared, but lost in the desert. And my camel went away. I was just
So hold on, you're now sitting here in your 30s on Disciplined Stoners podcast because you started a weed brand called Jublee. But at one point in your life, in the middle of nowhere in the Sahara Desert, Alex was like, where'd my camel go? Good thing I got high on some hash.
That's a good way to describe it. It's a good way to describe it.
You're built different, bro.
I was super scared though. I
You're
was super
fucking
scared.
built different, dude.
That's some movie ass shit. That
It's
for
a-
real is a screenplay.
But it's hash, it's weed. It's hash and weed brought me to all of these stories, and I've got many in Australia, in Indonesia, and in Oaxaca, Mexico. Every time weed brought me to these crazy places and meet these people full of wisdom,
Yeah.
full of wisdom, much wiser than I will ever be.
Yeah. That's beautiful, man. Congratulations on a rich life lived. Rich in, experience.
Thank you.
That's fucking. You seem like a bit of an old soul, my friend.
Making the most of the time that I have.
Yeah. Yeah,
Holy
it's
shit.
precious. Do you do any practices? Like, do you meditate or?
I meditate a lot. I do a lot of yoga every morning. Yoga, pretty much. I'd say
Nice.
I do
Well-
vinyasa mainly.
Yeah.
Winnie did the yoga at Camp Canna that was partnered with Jublee.
Yeah, that was partnered with you
Yeah.
as well. And then we did a launch event actually as well at Sweat and Tonic a
Oh,
year ago as
wow.
well.
Good for
and then
you
we should have
guys.
invited you there because I saw your profile afterward that you were in yoga as well,
Yeah,
a teacher, and
yeah.
I didn't know that back then. And
Yeah,
it was
all
a shame that
good.
I didn't invite you there.
That's a
Next
cool
time.
collaboration, though,
Yes.
and really good to hit that market. I feel like that's a good
Yeah.
cross branding for sure.
So you're so mindful straight through, and I love that you put a focus on the ingredients being local.
Yes.
Like that's good. That stimulates.
Oh yeah,
my chef.
what's
Yeah, we got
what's
one
your
more.
rule?
I like to source like most of my ingredients locally, but obviously not all the food ingredient can be sourced locally, but the weed itself can be. It is. We do R&D testing with various weeds from outside of our province, just to R&D processes, but we stabilize our supply chain locally. To remove to lower the carbon footprint itself, and obviously we wish one day to have all of these compostable packaging. We wish to be at the forefront of what needs to be done, because we know some things needs to be done, and if you don't do it, it's a bit of a shame.
Yeah,
Oh.
it'll be interesting as the industry evolves, how you'll be able to make like multi packs of this,
Oh.
right? Like it could come in, you know what I mean?
That's
like
the goal.
it could
A
be.
whole bag.
It was that at the beginning of the brand.
Yeah, of
So
course it was. I'm sure it was.
One big hemp brand or one big hemp bag, and you can just get like 100 candies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want people. We don't sell weed. I like to say we don't sell weed per se. We sell a way to use cannabis, to introduce it in a seamless way in your daily life. We mimic various things that people do every day.
Yeah.
Eating well, treating yourself. And in some ways we want people to do it more. Often. And our product, I think they push people to think about themselves, and then when they eat it, the superfoods and the various functional ingredients takes care of people without even them noticing it.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm talking
that's
about.
cool.
That's what
That
we wanna
part.
do,
That's the shit that I really, really like, and that's like
Thanks.
it's a first class experience in a bag as weed. So that very
that
much
tastes good.
adds to my interest.
So, how big of a role did you play in the ingredients and the creation of these?
It's all my product. I create all my portfolio myself. Every product, the topicals, the edibles, the hashish, they all come from my laboratory kitchen myself.
Wow.
Alone.
So cool.
And it's inspired, but alone I create it, and then I scale it up with a wonderful team that can challenge me to on the scale up, because I'm not a scale up guy.
Yeah.
I'm a creator of this product, and then the team say, okay, you can do it like that. You need to modify the texture like like this, you know. So, and people, you know, they teach me so much, you know. So I'm alone in my lab crunching what people give me, you know.
Yeah.
And being able to crunch it, being a tool of all these knowledges. But you know, like all of these products, they have an identity that comes from an idea and a story, deeply linked, you know, to my, you know, the various journey that I had, you know.
Yeah.
That's very smart of you. Just surround yourself with smart people.
It's you know, if you're the smartest people in the room, you're not in the right room.
No bueno.
You're in the wrong room, baby.
This is so fucking good. Cherry and cacao. Yeah. I'm getting like the trigger of my jaws watering.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a sharp, delicious, delightful sweetness. It's chocolate and red.
It's a Ontario tart cherries as well, you know. So it's we like to work locally as much as we can. So it's like the cherries that are a bit sour, you know, Nordic products. So we did actually mimic the old world edibles. Everything you see, it's like everything that I ate in Northern Africa and various parts of the world, but we adapted it with local terroir. Like the apple and matcha. Obviously, matcha is from Japan. It's inspired and imported as well. But the apple itself, our facility is in the apple center of the world. There's orchard all over the place. So one of our first product was this one, you know. And then cherry and cocoa to represent the Nordic vibe through various functional ingredients, but in a deeply old world perspective, but with modern knowledge, you know.
Beautiful. And so what is this? Was our last one. We didn't get to the intent of this one was.
This is the sensual product that we have. This one we want to trigger a sensual effect, but sensual not necessarily in a sexual way. Sensuality is a way we can enhance various types of senses, in the way you feel your clothes on your skin a bit more. You can feel the texture of a painting a bit more. But we triggered that not only through weed, because this product would trigger sensuality even without the cannabis there, because we use a pepper from southern Spain called piment gorilla or Goria pepper or piment d'Espelette. It's various words that are called for this pepper, and it's been utilized since medieval time for various aphrodisiac concoctions. Fuck. Then we use it in there, and then we use cocoa nibs. Cocoa has been reputed as an aphrodisiac for a while, and it's because of a molecule called theobromine that's similar to caffeine. And then when we use these products, you know, we create an effect, and then we use THC and CBD to enhance it. And so that would be the perfect product to go to the spa, to chill at night, you know, to have a nice, you know, a nice evening with your partner.
I'm feeling that right now.
Know?
I just got really in my body.
Well, it brings you, I mean, that could be from the previous
No,
edible
you know what
ate?
it was? No, that's possible too. Winnie always has a burst in my body. But no, it was the crunch of the cacao nibs. Paired with like the tartness that made my jaw water gels turn on. And it was noticing the texture of that like put me in that state of mind. But you're right, I am also hash high.
Yeah, but I totally agree though. It actually brought me into the very present moment. I was like, oh yeah, I'm in my body. As I was eating that. That was beautiful. I hadn't tried that yet.
I'm glad that you like it. It's very different from, you know, we want to try various vibes. The coconut and vanilla one is more indulgent, more on the dessert side. This one is very cherry and tart. You know?
Bro.
And we use our own full spectrum crude extract and everything. So it's not distillated, it's not purified. It's crude extract from bud wash that we do with our own full spectrum, our own subcritical CO2 extractor. So we just do bud wash and we take the full spectrum extract. We don't purify it, we don't filter it. We put it into our edibles. We even sell the 1 gram full spectrum extract now pretty much everywhere.
Oh, wow.
And it's just the thing that we put in there. People wanted it to just elevate them, because for me, most of my edibles are not strong enough for my tolerances.
Yeah.
Right.
So I've been always putting my own resin or my own hash on my edible to get higher. So people said, hey, we want that as well. So I just put it in a small glass syringe.
Oh, does that work? You can just put resin on an edible and eat it?
Yeah, exactly. And it's fully decarbed and always above 3.5% terpene, because we use subcritical bud wash and we don't purify it. So it's full spectrum stuff that you can infuse in the middle of your joint. You can infuse your ball. You can eat it straight away. You can put it in your meals. Or you can do as I do pretty much every day. I want to enhance my edibles, my superfood. So I want to benefit from the wild blueberries, but it's not strong enough for me sometimes. So I just take my little syringe of full spectrum extract that's available everywhere, and then we just put a small.
Oh yeah, I text you a picture of that.
Yeah.
We were at Corey and T, their place, so the H Jar homies, and the Canada coach had it, and she was
cool.
like this Juba, and that was I texted you that, and I was like, bro, I'm here in Alberta, look at this.
It's super cool. It's the syringe. Yeah, it's the little syringe applicator.
I need one of those. We need one of those.
Yeah, I wanted to bring one, but we didn't produce last week. But I'll send you one.
I love. That's a great idea.
How many provinces are you in?
And now we just launched in Saskatchewan, Manitoba. We're in Quebec. We're the number one edible seller in Quebec. We've got so much love from the Quebec consumer, and we're very grateful for it. And it's we're in Newfoundland as well with our topicals.
Wow.
Yo, Newfies, go get it, bye.
Yeah, we
Good
just
for
arrived. The
you.
topicals arrived, I think, yesterday in the pallet. So they would be on the shelves, I would say, in a couple weeks or in a week or so.
Nice.
So all of our topicals, so bath salts and body butters, because every product are complementary. So we want people to eat a fruit bite, pour themselves a bath, put some of our nice Himalayan chunky bath salts.
I feel it.
You know, and just continue in the journey and the various products that fits to in your life, you know. And
When you get out the bath, you take that fig and fur and you rub that on.
Fur and flower.
Flower and fur. Flower and fur. You've been stuck with the fig.
I've been
It's okay,
trying
figs
to-
are very good, you know.
You know, but
I've had
there's
some on
fig
my
in
camel.
this, no?
I know there's no figs in the product because it's there's a bit of dates in some of them.
Dates.
Yeah. But
Dates.
fig it's it's flower and fur. Yeah.
Flour and fur.
It's made with mango butter.
Mango butter. I love that shit. I don't care if I forget its name. I still love it.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you do, man.
We won't
So-
forget its name though.
Yeah. Man, you are a delightful wealth of knowledge. You've
Yeah.
traveled. You've hold on, we didn't get to how long it took you to grow out the dreads.
Oh my God!
You had dreadlocks at one
yeah,
time?
but that's It wasn't the time of cultural appropriation back then. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it now, you know. But back then,
I'm
yeah.
sorry,
it
should I
was-
not have brought that up?
No worries at all. I had my dreadlocks were pretty long, but I needed to have very long hair to have small dreadlocks, you know, because they get smaller with the locks.
Yeah.
Yes.
So my hairs were pretty probably there, I would say. Yeah. Wow. It was different style.
How
Different
long?
style.
How long
Yeah.
did that take to grow
Oh
that?
man, I'd say 2 years or 3 years. I'd say. Yeah. More or less, I was living on the road as we say back then. You know, so it was a different life, camping and hunting and fishing, and in South Asia mainly.
In South Asia?
But it wasn't one of the trip in Australia. I was with my brother sometime for 6 months in a camping 6 months straight with my brother in the wild. You know, some cool trips we did.
I'm
That was
borderline.
good.
This
I
way,
don't
this
even
way.
believe
This
you
way.
at this point. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. I do. I so.
It's
Yeah,
a-
it's really
It's
very
incredible
cool.
the life that you've had, man. That's incredible. So right now you're living in Montreal.
Did you grow up in Montreal?
I grew up in Gatineau, which is a city near
Oh, yeah.
Ottawa, just on the other side of the border.
Okay.
And it's been 18 years since I've been in Montreal. But on these 18 years, there were 10 that wasn't pretty much back and forth on the road. So, but my address was in Montreal for 18 years now. Yeah.
That's lit. And what does a day-to-day look like for you? Do you go into the Jubilee office? Is there?
Yes, we have an office in Saint-Hyacinthe. Gayonica.
Gayonica.
Gayonica is the name of the corporation itself, with the Gaia name in the front of it, because all my partner comes from the food industry. They used to do this circular economy vibe. So they had these juices that were cold pressed, and these pestos, and they had these cheese factories and stuff.
Wow.
So we partnered up with my cannabis knowledge and food knowledge and their capacity to scale up. So so they have an office in Saint-Hyacinthe and a facility. Saint-Hyacinthe is a half an hour from Montreal, and my facility is an hour from Montreal. Small facility, small footprint. We're very, very versatile, very agile. You know, we do everything in house. We sell in house now. We have our own sales team now, but we do our hashish, we do our extracts, we do our edible product development. We even have our own analysis lab to be able to do in real time analysis, which brings us to be even more agile, even more versatile in our creation of products. So.
And you're sharing the stuff like along the way that you're building. It's so dope. Like
So that's the new hashish we have. This.
yeah, man. This looks amazing.
The Montreal style aged hash, we call it. It's a Moroccan technique, but it's Montreal style because it wouldn't be right, I'd say, to call it Moroccan in its own way, because I'm not Moroccan, it's not Moroccan weed, and my
Yeah.
technique is far from being the one in Morocco. So it's inspired by it.
Love that.
Aged a minimum of 3 months, always packed with terpene, flavonoids. But the cool compound in it is the CBN, because CBN comes with aging the THC. It's a product that the plant doesn't create itself. It's a compound that comes with the contact with light and oxygen, and it's a sedative compound. So that's why these fruit bites with the CBN, they get you to sleep. This won't get you to sleep necessarily because there's not enough of it in it, but there needs to be a particular amount of CBN to be real hashish from these parts of the world. So into mimicking the hashish of the 80s and the 90s, that was the goal, to do this aged hash. I wanted to have the hash my uncle and my
Yeah.
other generations smoked back in the 80s and 90s.
The proper hash.
Exactly. So I analyzed what the hash is and was, and I decided to mimic it with locally sourced strain, but in an aging process that's always 3 months. And it can be more, because we have metrics, and CBN is the metric. CBN is the degradation of THC to bring this particular compound to create this bodily effect that differentiates for the flower or the fresh hash, because it's sad, but sometimes we put hash too fast in the market. We don't age it, we don't cure it enough to give it, that particular resting time for the trichomes to, interact to each other to create this profile with flavor, texture, but essentially effect as well.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think that it's very clear when products are rushed to market and you're like, oh, you cut corners a bit. When the demand gets so high, how do you keep up?
The scaling up, we have a good scale up capacity, even with the smaller capacity the smaller footprint that we have. We could actually, easily quadruple or even tenfold, or what we can do, only with managing various flexibility in our facility. But we'll do some other, some products with partners as well. Collaboration, I'd say, is a good place to begin, because in industries such as precarious as ours and such as new as ours, being a loner and, isolating in your own island, thinking you do the best product, the best this and the best that is totally false, and it will never work. Collaboration is key, There's even some other words, like there's new words like they call it co-opetition. So it's like you compete.
Cooperating.
Obviously. Yeah, cooperating through competition, co-opetition. So like we compete, but in the same market, but there's so much place for innovation, so much place for new products. So let's exchange. Let's talk about our blueprints. Let's talk about how we can innovate and get better. Because if we stay on our own islands, we'll stay. It takes a long while to get where we need to be.
So
I feel like that about creators. I always try to form alliances with people, like even as just a musician or even a podcast, anything like I'm a part of. I agree. I think interfacing and interchanging to make a solid, more well-rounded, more self-aware whole, realizing that we are like one sector, like to the world, like we're the Canadian cannabis industry. Exactly. It's almost like they assume we'd be collaborating, but you're right. Sometimes it could feel very separate because perhaps the bureaucracy that was introduced through the framework of legalization or however it happened. I mean, it's also a product because it was kept in the black market for so long. It often people operated like criminals because they were treated like criminals. So there was a lot of value to mystery and distance, or anonymity, being anonymous or whatever. So
clandestine.
Yeah, exactly. Hey. There you go. Call back. Yeah. So you're right. The new world now is let's cooperate. Yeah. Let's drive each other. It's like it's not that I don't want to have the best song because other rappers are dropping shit songs. I want them to also drop great songs, and I want to drop an even better one.
Exactly. Push each other up.
You push, yeah. So dude, I feel that. I love that collaboration.
If or when, I guess, it becomes federally legal in the States, is expanding to the U.S. something that has crossed your mind?
Expanding globally is definitely was the goal at the beginning, because when I converted, stopped the various ACMPR landscape that we had before in 2018 and decided to launch into the legal market. The aim was always the same. One day, a woman in pain will take my cream in Australia to treat her back pain, and then I will be close to my goal. That was one of the things I wanted to do. I'm not there yet, And when I'll be there yet, I'll have some other goals. I was, to that, but this is one of the stepstones that I'm looking for. I'm not there yet, but that's one of the global expansion has always been there. I'll go there, slowly. I'll go there in our own ways, but through collaboration with locally sourced local partners. And I don't want to export that much because the carbon footprint of exporting goods. I can do the product there. I can have like a partner over there that can work with me, so I can go there myself and do the product, so I can have a lower carbon footprint, or even with local fruits.
Yeah.
But I don't believe in exporting that much. I will do it. Obviously, it's the name of the game. We're in a capitalist world, But I wish to have a smaller footprint. So I wish to go in a place that I will do leveraging cooperation, local cooperation, and transfer of knowledge.
I love that. The impact, the people in the region and the function. You continue to say. Lower the impact of your footprint, and I talk to a lot of business owners, and I gotta say I've never heard that be so considered as a primary thing. That's so wonderful. I'm just saying, you're the future, bro. You're thinking we're gonna have to think like this, like coming to, you know, a wonderful crescendo of creating harmony or whatever your reasoning be. But just like, has that been something you've always been? You said you've been an activist, but like, this is really playing a good, strong role in your operations these days. Tell me a little bit about making this impact thing, because I know that there's even some like hotels that do like on Vancouver Island. Like, I was part of a show that covered one time that was like, they cancel out their carbon footprint or something. But what is this consideration? How's it playing a role in your business?
It's hard to conciliate, you know, the expansion and growth with, you know, the ecological footprint. So it starts with the supply chain, I would say. Supply chain would be there because inevitably when you build an infrastructure, you occupy your place, you utilize energy, you use, you know, material to build it. So, you know, all of this has a particular footprint for everyone. So for us, we already have a hangar that we reconverted. So already there building that we reutilized in a region that doesn't have a lot of velocity, economically speaking. So that was one of the
reuse and
goals, you know?
recycle.
Yeah, and then go to a place willfully where you know that needs you know, economical development as well.
Yes.
To have an impact, to show that cannabis can be a good corporate citizen if it acts well, you know, when we have good intentions, and we don't just say it, we know we want to show it.
Hello.
It's because words, you know, they're words, and actions, you know, they go a lot, you know, a lot wider.
Nothing speaks like you're just like you just said. Your behavior and your impact and your awareness and intention. So,
Are you well received? Like, is the facility well received in the areas? I know
Yes.
some facilities have a bit of an issue with smell and stuff, and that bothering their neighbors. So that's unfortunate, because you're like, fuck, there's not really much we can do about that.
But the filters, the carbon filters and stuff like that, you know, that can be done. But for us, we didn't have to struggle with that because there was already a grow in the street that we established ourselves.
Oh,
there was a
right.
vertically established grow that's not there anymore because, you
Nice.
know, with the consolidation, they went away. But the municipality already seen cannabis as an opportunity to implement, you know, various
Nice.
types of businesses and reoccupy various, you know, places that weren't occupied, you know. So we're in a small, you know, business place.
sounds perfect.
Next to a cider place, orchards everywhere, you know, it's
Nice.
a rural area.
Wow.
And we like to have like a good, you know, retention of, you know, we like to work with people for forever if we can, you know, because we want to treat people good and we want to be a good social actor as well as a good, you know, businessman if we can.
yeah, the awareness of the impact is so important. Like moving forward for sustainability, and like especially in a culture where you're selling products to like mindful stoners that like want that. Like, I feel like cannabis is representing in those considerations like big time, like more than you've seen from other industries. I think I fucking love that. Big props. Yes.
If you were to do a 30-second commercial spot on Jubilee, that would be shown on all TVs everywhere, and you had no restrictions. You had no restrictions about what you could shoot. What does that look like? What does that feel like?
I should have done it before I was that high.
No, like,
I think it's a hard question, honestly.
It's a very hard
yeah.
question. Definitely hard question
Yeah.
because you want to circumscribe, I don't know.
Describe.
Something that's very wide, because we have this, you know, wide portfolio that encompasses every category, because Jubilee is not a product, you know, it's a
You'd
way
have
of
to
thinking,
choose
you know?
a shining star, I think.
Exactly.
Do you know?
A shining star, or like just a
Tell the
way,
story.
you know, because it's a way to consume cannabis. Jubilee, it's not one product, one another, but I'd say like one product that tells story, like the, you know, the blueberry jam of my grandma. Obviously, is the essence of the.
I want to
You know.
see that.
Yeah,
that's what it
nice.
would be.
Yeah.
I would, as a filmmaker,
that's really good.
I would pitch to you the spec ad of like writing out this story together as a screenplay, casting an older lady
Oh
that
my
looks
God,
like your
I
grandma,
love it.
casting a little boy that looks
Honestly.
like you, and like a drone
We can
shot
tell
over a
the
farmhouse,
craziest story.
and then like we can get Paul to shoot it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then it
From
evolves.
there to there.
So yeah, it's the young and the grandma, and then it's late. It ends with
No, the
with
little
grandma.
guy, he does everything he's supposed to do, and right when she has the spoon and she's about to feed it to him, we cross dissolve into one of these going into someone's mouth, and whose mouth?
grandmas.
About to go to bed.
That's the scenario. Nailed it
You know
right there.
what? You can take that one for free.
No, we'll shoot it. We'll get it
collaborate,
funded.
we'll
Let's do it. Collaborate. Hold on. That was actually just
That's
a big
actually
collaboration
fucking.
right there.
I love that. I love that.
Because it
so
gets,
much.
values as well. Because there's
Yeah.
value in all of this narrative as well. That's
Yeah.
what it's meaningful. So I
Yeah.
guess like meaningful
And
things.
that's your story, That's so beautiful, and I think zoning in on the story is important. Yeah, that's a special thing, and that's the important thing I feel to people seeing your vision of that experience. Like it's rooted in like family values, like it's like rooted in love and healing, and it's like dress for every occasion.
Oh, so well said.
In that light.
Do you have a target market?
I'd say like various products have various target
Yeah.
markets. We like to think that our topicals could be a good introductory product for people that don't know cannabis. So they're CBD oriented. There will be other topicals very soon with THC, CBG, but the first one that we launched were CBD oriented, various extra strength and normal strength, just to educate. And there are no THC symbols on the ones that we have because we use solo the THC. We purify the molecule just to remove the THC symbols to make it more democratic for the people. To have like a person to be
Right
proud of the jar,
on.
because they're nice glass jars, recyclable, that you can put on the top of your shelf and you're proud of it, And people read it, oh, it's cannabis. So, that's the way we wanted to do it first, to open the door. But the door is open now with the first topicals that we have. So you talk about target markets. The target markets of this particular these products it's constantly evolving, and it will be so for the next decade because these products are innovative. This industry is new, it's disruptive, and it will tackle and replace a lot of product that we use in our daily lives.
That's what I'm talking about.
And we need to do it in a timely fashion and an educational fashion. And I think like for that particular market, but for the edible, we like to think that we convert people from classic sugary edible made out of like gummies and chocolate. They have their place, and they will always have their place in the industry. But they're inevitably a result of prohibition at some point, because cannabis was very different before prohibition, and after prohibition, we needed to be slick. We needed to put a lot of cannabinoids in a smaller proportion, and we couldn't innovate and do various things in old school ways. So I'd say converting or educating that what cannabis was before, that it can still be like that today, and it can be different than what we think cannabis is, So and it can be for everyone.
Absolutely.
Totally. Yeah, it's such an important role.
Yeah, I think we really wanted to play, like, what we're doing in the market is really just wanting to play a sort of like poster child role of like stoner isn't what you think it is. You know what I mean? Like it's not
showing
what
being
you-
the platform to show that like look how much intelligent thought goes into this, and like incorporating the people who we know in our network as well as ourselves who are very committed to a craft. And so changing the stigma I think is the core of it, right?
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Yeah, the perception. I think everyone who wants to be mad at weed is going to be mad at weed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really interested in changing those people's minds, but people who are like open to it, for like those are the people we want to grab.
I think that grandma story would get just about everyone.
Yeah.
I think cannabis can do a lot
Yeah,
for our
that's
elders.
fucking cool.
It can do a lot of good for elders that are lonely, they're alone, they're in pain, they take opioids, their lives are, at the end, we need to keep them with dignity. I think cannabis can be a good tool to keep, bring a bit more dignity for our elders as well.
I agree, because it's like when you're young and you get high, you just like sit still and act like an old person anyway. It's like you're already just being old and sitting still. You might as well be high as fuck. You might as well like, I swear, as soon as I'm like, if I make it to 95, bro, I'm going to take acid every day. Like I'm just going to fucking trip. You might as well if you have a functioning brain.
All day,
I'm just one with source, just like, wow, I've made it a long time in my life. I'm still here in this form. Like I'm going to be that high in my 90s,
Nice.
I think we can continue to push the lifespan. Like if you're looking at like 90-year-olds right now, like I'm buddies with Rob, he's 75. Like fucking, it's like the amount that we take care of ourselves, and now through self-awareness, we can extend. I think we can go past hundo commonly.
I would love to.
I'd love to go past a hundo.
Be that
Oh my God, that'd be-
centurion.
Yeah.
A privilege.
Yeah, I hope so. I think that we're all doing pretty good.
Let's hope cannabis will help.
If
I think it has to.
If my theory is right, it's just it cancels itself out.
Yeah, definitely.
We're gonna be-
So there's
perfect harm
no,
reduction.
yeah.
So there's no impact whatsoever. Yeah, man, sick. This has been
Dope.
such a beautiful, like, fulfilling catch up and like
Yeah.
getting to
Likewise.
know you, man.
Yeah,
This
this
is
has
So
been
glad,
real,
so
such a
glad.
great sesh.
Yeah,
Thank you
I
so
love the
much for
vibe, I
coming
love it. So
on.
nice. Thank you so much for having me.
My
Is there
pleasure.
anything else you want to
Can-
let the people know?
You gonna drop any gems?
You know, like we're diversifying. You know, look for us in various parts. You know, we have the same ethic in all of our product. We like to be you know the good flag of the cannabis. You know, we like to put the traditional wisdom in the modern perspective for, you know, as I said, those wellness. You know, so yeah, find Jublee and tell us what you like.
We'll put them in the link below somewhere.
Cheers.
Love.
Thanks, everyone.
Enjoy yourself, meditate, subscribe to us, follow Jublee, and I'm fucking high.
Feel good.
Thank
Go
you.
get some
high.
Jubilee right now. Go to
Yeah.
your store right now.
Alex, thanks for
Hey,
joining us,
much
brother.
appreciated.
Love
Much
it,
appreciated.
absolutely,
Very
man.
much.
Yeah.
So nice.
Love. Peace.
Wow, that was cool.
That was so cool.
Thank you. I'm so high.
Hey, listen, man. We can't smoke on no meds, homie. And I ain't into sports and stuff. So I be putting my athleticism in smoking. Yeah. You know what we smoking on, light it up a Taliban, flexing with the super strong, puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Gotta cut a smoke alarm, throw smoke rings at the throat like a water gun. You know word like a sing-along, set it, let it be like a bet you betting on. It's a bud throne that I'm sitting on. Phone it in like a telethon, when it's said and done, everyone wanna be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. We be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. We be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Puffing like a smoke-a-thon. I be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Only hitting that hella bomb. Yeah, gotta kill a smoke alarm. We be puffin' like a puffathon. We be puffin' like a puffathon. I'm like bad boy, baby. Puff my main thing. Yes, terps in the nose. THC in my veins. CBG for the highs. CBD for the pain. Shout out every other element that we haven't measured yet, because education has been restrained. Why? I wonder why. Cannabis, this fucking guy, he goes up in the pharma cabinet and says, I'll replace you and take you out the game. Good night, alright. And you fight that have been prescribed. It's time to take a hike Vive and you're gonna kill this guy. Smoke a joint every morning and you'll be fine. The red cherry is where I find the light. You know what we smoking on, light it up a Taliban, flexing with the super strong, puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Gotta cut a smoke alarm, throw smoke rings at the throat like a water gun. You know word like a sing-along, set it, let it be like a bet you betting on. It's a bud throne that I'm sitting on. Phone it in like a telethon, when it's said and done, everyone wanna be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. We be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. We be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Puffing like a smoke-a-thon. I be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Only hitting that hella bomb. Yeah, gotta kill a smoke alarm. We be puffing like a puffathon. We be puffing like a puffathon. Disciplined stoners out on the scene, matching tracksuits and Jordan 3s. Can't wait to see you and smoke more weed. What's that you got there, a blunt for me? Fuck it, I'm lucky, I love you too. Let's see you all drop some new stuff too. What's there a Sunday on a Sunday cruise? Doing reviews for her next skew. Smoking the fire and we hella blitz. I got my paws on shit nobody gets. Outstanding buds like they came from the drip. Throwing some primo, I'm top of the tip. Never am stiff, I love the community. At an event talking like it's just you and me. Culture and industry making its history. We are just happy to be here and getting so lit. You know what we smoking on, light it up a Taliban, flexing with the super strong, puffing like a smoke-a-thon. Gotta cut a smoke alarm, throw smoke rings at the throat like a water gun. You know word like a sing-along, set it, let it be like a bet you betting on. It's a bud throne that I'm sitting on. Phone it in like a telethon, when it's said and done, everyone wanna be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. We be puffing like a smoke-a-thon. We be puffing like a smoke-a-thon.
Like bad boy, baby. Puff my main thing. Yes, terps in the nose. THC in my veins. CBG for the highs. CBD for the pain. Shout out every other element that we haven't measured yet, because education has been restrained. Why? why cannabis, this fucking guy, he goes up in the pharma cabinet and says I'll replace you.
Oh, yeah, it's so smoky. We smoked it out. It won't stop because of all the weed being smoked. Oh.
Welcome to disciplined stoners, the gateway drug to mindfulness. Look deeper.
To think that we started this podcast to fight a stigma, only to uncover so much love that we realized that you can't put your energy anywhere but what you want.
Look deeper.
And what we want is authentic conversation. What we want is quality medicine. What we enjoy is each other.
We get to learn from our guests. Manage the best. I would manifest this.
Part of the magic of the plant is how it uncovers what you've been hiding away.
So much love.
Look deeper. Feel more. Tune in.
So much love. Look deeper.
We're not here to be lazy.
Welcome to disciplined stoners,
We're not here to distract ourselves.
the gateway drug to mindfulness.
We're here to learn. We're here to grow.